Welcome back, everybody, to Empyrion Galactic Survival on version 1.0. This is the Getting Started in Empyrion tutorial series. I am an old guy gaming, and we're going to continue our tutorial series here on 1.0. Now, the good news, if you didn't already know this, is that we didn't have to actually start over because 1.0 was really just a very minor, in fact, update from 12.3. I mean, surprisingly light. A lot of people have been commenting on that, and so that's good from the standpoint that here again we don't have to start over at all. We can just continue on with the world that we currently have. But you'll notice that I'm back here in creative mode because I got some really good comments and feedback from the last video, actually the two videos back about creative mode. A couple of things that people pointed out that I want to also bring to your attention. Okay, so the first thing is that in the video, 2 videos ago, I went into God mode by using the console and typing it in here, which works. Okay, works fine. But you can also, in creative mode, you can go directly into God mode by just pressing the G key. There you go. So that's just a little bit easier, so very useful. And then, of course, if you press it again, it just toggles back out of God mode. Okay, we can even go under the world. Look at that, crazy. Hey, that's weird. Yeah, we shouldn't be doing that because it's kind of creepy. Okay, so yeah, G toggles God mode. Another thing that was pointed out to me is that when you're in the creative menu, if I just click on these blocks here, it puts, the full stack in there. But if you right click, then it'll just put one at a time. So that's going to be useful for, like for example, we need a core, or not a core, but a base starter. So let's right click on the base starter and it just puts one on the toolbar. So yeah, very useful information actually to know that. While we're in this menu, let's go ahead and once again give ourselves a multi-tool. And let's give ourselves some charges. Oh, I just right-click. That's all you got to do. To bring a couple in, and let's give ourselves, I don't know why I picked that up. We don't actually need it. A texture tool. Okay, so we'll get ourselves a texture and color tool because there's a couple more things I want to show you. All right, so let's go ahead and lay our core down here, and we're gonna just lay some blocks down real quickly. One of you guys in the comments also asked me, when I'm doing stuff with keyboard shortcuts to mention those shortcuts just as a reminder. So I will try to remember to do that. I probably won't remember to do it all the time, but when I think about it, I certainly will do so. Okay, so we want to turn on the symmetry plane. We do that from the N key, N as in Nancy. And we're going to enable symmetry plane. We're going to put the YZ plane on. Yeah, YZ plane will work. I'm pressing escape to get out of the in menu, or I could press in again to toggle it off. Now we're going to hold down the control key on our keyboard. We're going to hold down our left mouse button, and we're going to drag out a plane of blocks this way. And we're going to likewise drag out a plane of blocks this way. I don't even have to go all the way over there. Okay, good enough. All right, so let's see. A couple other things that I want to show you. I was told that, and I didn't actually know this myself, so, I'm learning along with you, which is fan-frickin-tastic, right? That you can undo painting and texturing from the in menu. Let's try it. Oh, so it does it like a block at a time. Interesting. Okay. So if you royally screwed something up, like for example, we learned how potentially dangerous the replace mode tool could be. Let's do it like a kind of a realistic example of this. So if you accidentally replaced all of that texture on a building and you didn't mean to, you should be able to undo it. Look at that. All right, awesome. That's fantastic. I didn't even know that. I assumed that undo only works for the actions that you can do inside of the in menu, but apparently it works for texturing and painting and doing stuff that you didn't mean to do. And that is really good information to know. Hey, how come that's not working? Oh, do I have to get back out of the menu? Okay, let's try that again. Undo. Okay, I don't know. That seemed to glitch out for a second there. Okay, so that is super useful information. Even helpful to me because, like I said, I wasn't aware that that actually worked, and it does. So very, very grateful to those of you guys for leaving those comments. Okay, there's one more thing that was also pointed out to me that you can do when it comes to deleting blocks. So if you have, let's just put some blocks here and some blocks here. Okay, so I told you during the creative tutorial that we did a couple of episodes ago that if you need to remove a block that has been placed and you remove it with the tool, the symmetry plane doesn't remove the opposing block or the mirrored block. But what you can actually do, and this is something I actually did know, but I haven't really, I just recently learned it myself, so I haven't used it much, and it just, I just forgot about it basically, is that you can also delete blocks in creative mode by equipping a block like I have here, right? And then what we need to do is we need to shift right click. Ah, yeah, look at that. So shift right click removes a block, but what's even better about that is look what it's doing. It's also removing the block on the symmetry plane too. So now we can actually remove the blocks on both sides. That is super, super useful. And again, I actually, like I said, I recently found that out, but it's something I haven't used enough to have it, be ingrained in my own old guy brain. So it just didn't occur to me to use it. So man, that is super useful. You guys, I really, really appreciate the comments that you're leaving and the tips. Because, I told you from the very beginning, I don't know everything about this game, and I never will know everything about it. So I think it's really cool that, we're kind of together helping the new players learn the game. So, I'm doing the tutorial, but when you guys leave tips like this, especially ones that are this useful, it just, it makes it even that much better for the people that are learning the game. So just really appreciate you guys doing that, okay? All right, I think that's it for what we wanted to cover in terms of tips and notes and comments and that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get back into our survival game, and then we're going to continue on over there. So let's press the G key so we can quickly get out of God mode, and I will see you guys over on the survival save. Okay, guys, we are back in our survival world now. And ready to continue on with our tutorial. So in the last tutorial, we decorated the building, and thought I heard something. So what we're going to do in this episode is, I think we're going to, we hit level 7, right? In the last episode? Yes, we did. And I think we haven't learned the drill. We have 66 points. I think what I want to do is I want to graduate to the multi-tool and the drill. So we're going to learn both of those. But before we can actually put those things to use, we need to find some promethium. So let's just do that, because if you guys are playing your game and you hit level 7, that is really probably the very highest priority that you have, is to find some promethium, because both of these tools are so much better than ye old survival tool. God bless the survival tool. It's gotten us this far, but it's time for us to put that thing away and move up in the world. But before we can do that, we need promethium. So I guess the question now is, how do we find promethium at this point in the game? Well, we've got a couple of options. One option is to go diving. And you can find promethium stones on, in the deeper water of the lakes and stuff in this game. The thing about that, though, is that it's somewhat rare, so it's not. It can be kind of hard to find. But there are other resources under the water as well, so we might as well go ahead and do that. We're not going to spend the entire episode swimming around in the water looking for promethium stones, but let's spend a little bit of time, because we might find one. And even if we don't, like I said, there's other things that are useful down there, and we might as well. Go ahead and go after them. But if that doesn't work, then what we're going to do next is we're going to start driving around in our hovercraft, and we're going to look for an irradiated biome. We do have actually 4 promethium deposits, so we might actually luck out and find one of these, and maybe we'll luck out even more and find it in a place that it's not near an enemy base. So let's try the water first, and we'll spend just a little bit of time in the water, and I'll show you a couple other things about being in the water. And if that doesn't work for us, then we're going to hop out and we'll start driving around, and we'll, in the process of doing that, we'll also uncover more of the planet too. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So we're doing pretty good on O2. We don't actually have any spare O2 though, do we? Let's take a look in here. That should not be in there. That should be in the fridge, or actually just in my own inventory, making more Cliff Bars for us. We are a little bit damaged too. How did that happen? I don't even remember how that happened. Did we get attacked by like one of those crickets or something? Okay. Well, let's actually... How much do we have? We've already used up all of our protein. Okay, well, we've got 3 bandages and 2 health kits. Let's just take 1 bandage to get our health topped all the way back off. Okay, so O2. We actually should have a little bit of extra O2 with us if we're going to go deep sea diving. So how do we do that? Well, what we have to do in the early game, anyways, is we have to make a water condenser, water O2 condenser, and that's going to require 2 ore. And you have to make that also in your survival constructor built into your suit, because I don't think you can make it in here. Yeah, I don't think you can make it in here. So, do we have some iron ore? Yes, we do. So let's get a couple of those, and we're just going to make a water condenser. And when that's done, we're going to need a little bit of fuel for it as well. So let's just grab, here, we can just connect to this. We'll grab some biofuel. I really should also, you know, be cutting more trees and, you know, continue working on the biofuel and these guys too. But, you know, just so many things to try to remember to do. So we'll just, you know, use what we have for the time being. And how does the fuel look in the base, by the way? Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, because we don't really have a lot going on right now that's using a lot of power. But, you know, you do, one thing to keep in mind is as you expand your base, you also need to expand it, you know, its power output to support your needs. So, you know, just keep that in mind. So let's see, is this done? Not quite yet. All right, well, I'll tell you what, let's just go a little ways offshore, but we do want to keep an eye on our O2, which is this meter down here. And once this gets, you know, starts getting pretty low, we're going to want to come back and put that condenser down. And, well, you know what, it's almost ready. Let's just wait. Let's just be patient and wait. And we will have it make O2 for us whilst we're out and about. That's the better plan. Okay, there it is. This, like the portable constructors, is an item that you want to... What the hell? What's the matter with my toolbar? My toolbar shows up when I go into the menu, but it's not it's not showing up when I get out of it. What? Empyrion, what are you doing to me? What happens if we connect to this and then disconnect? There we go. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, little bug there. Okay, so let's put this down. And now we've got to reconnect again to our output container here so that we can actually grab the fuel so that we can actually put the fuel in here. So, yeah, that's plenty. Okay, so what you do basically with the condenser is you put fuel in it. You can put biofuel in it. You can put promethium fuel in it if you have it. And then you just let it run. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull moisture out of the air and produce both oxygen for you and also produce water for you too. So it's actually pretty damn useful. So it's a good idea to get one of these going, you know, fairly early on. I probably would have already had this going by now, you know, so that you start getting those things. The reason I didn't prioritize this is because we are on a breathable planet, but if we were on the arid planet or the snow planet, well, the arid planet even more so, because you can't breathe the atmosphere on the arid planet. This thing becomes super important because it's the only way you can make oxygen early in the game. So, you know, on the arid planet, not only do you need to have your heater cooler as a high priority, but you also need to have this. And I would actually make a few of these just so you can, you know, double, triple your production, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's disconnect. So we should be fine. We have almost a full tank of O2, so we should be fine for a little while. We just need to keep an eye on it so you know, it doesn't get too low. Let's go ahead, guys, and go for a swim. We did go into the water for just a little bit a few episodes ago, but we didn't spend much time in it because I didn't have a way to breathe underwater at that time. We do have the teller pods in the water that we have to watch out for. Interestingly enough, though, they can't swim. So as long as you stay high above them, they can't hurt you. Which I always thought was a little bit weird. You'd think those things would be able to swim, but they can't. So, okay, this is purely a matter of preference, but I like to go into third person when I'm in the water. Mostly because, it gives me just a little bit larger view of things, and I can, look down a little bit more to see if there's stuff, hidden in the seaweed. And it kind of looks cool to watch your character swimming too. Okay, so under the water, you're going to find a few resources. One of them is seaweed. So the seaweed plants come in two styles. There's this kind of tall, skinny plant, and when you pick it, it only gives you one plant protein. So you have to pick two at a time in order to get, enough plant protein to make energy bars. Work mouth. The other type of seaweed, it's a little bit harder to spot, but it's more of a bush type of plant, and it'll actually give you two proteins when you see it. So we'll probably come across one of those at some point here too. This stuff here is just, this brown looking stuff is just kind of more like kelp, and it's not harvestable. It's just decorative. Okay, now we see right here that there's this kind of reddish white coral looking thing. That is actually a very valuable resource, and we want to pick it. And what that does is it gives us alien plasma ZR1. ZR1 is one of the two alien plasmas that we need for certain medical devices and for medical stuff, basically. So you definitely want to grab that when you see it. The other type, there's another type of alien plasma too. I'm not sure why they call it plasma. I like to think of it more as like a fungus. But you'll need the other type too. The actual name of it eludes me right at the moment, but I'm sure we'll come across it. And again, both of those things are used for making medical stuff, medicine, and so forth. Okay, so let's keep swimming. We're keeping an eye on our O2 down on the lower left-hand corner, but we're fine for now. And you'll notice that if you look in the upper right-hand corner of my screen next to the mini-map, it says that we're in deep water. You want to be in deep water to find the promethium stones. I don't think you can find them in any other, place. So you'll have deep water, you'll have shallow water, you'll have, I think it's just called lake, not really sure. But you want to hit the deep water to actually find the promethium stones. All right, we have more ZR1, so we're going to grab that because we've learned now that it's very useful. And we're just kind of swimming around with a top-down view because it can be really hard sometimes to spot those promethium stones. The other thing that you can find under the water, in addition to the two plasma types in the seaweed, is pentaxid. So you can also find pentaxid crystals down here. Pentaxid is a very important resource because you use that to power the shields of your base, and it's also used for the warp fuel in the game when it comes time, for us to warp. These, the seaweed and whatnot down here can get really thick, though, so sometimes it can be hard to see things, and that's, once again, why I like to do this kind of top-down view while I'm swimming in the water. Okay, now notice in the upper right-hand corner that we're now in lake. So the lake biome is basically shallower water than the deep. So we kind of want to get back more into this deep water area while we're looking for the promo stones. Okay, now we're back in deep water, and it's a subtle difference. There's not a huge difference between that, but this is also a very large body of water. So even if we got into the lake area, we'll probably drop back down into deeper water later. So we're going to look just a little bit longer. I'd like to find some of the other type of plasma just so you guys see what it looks like. And hopefully we'll come across a promethium crystal too, again, just so you kind of see what it looks like. Another thing that you can do in the very early game is just assuming you have oxygen, right? You can breathe underwater, is just come down here and pick the crap out of the seaweed. You'll get XP for it, and you'll get a lot of plant protein that you can then turn into food for yourself or use for, other things like bandages and whatnot. Okay, so I'm not really seeing promethium stones, and I'm not surprised that we're not seeing it. There's some more ZR1. We might actually, now that I think about it, we probably will find the other types of plasma if we go into the little bit shallower water. So let's just do that. This kind of tube-looking coral stuff, that's just deco. That's not something you can actually pick. It's just kind of... I've always enjoyed swimming underwater in this game. And I wish, you know, I wish that they would do more with underwater stuff. There used to be a planet in the early game called Oskatoon, and it was an oceanic planet. And that sucker was deep, man. The ocean on that planet was really deep. But, you know, they haven't really done much with the ocean. They put a little bit of, you know, flora in it, as you can see here. But in terms of fauna, the only thing you'll ever find in the ocean is those telepods. And I don't know, I wish that Elyon would do more with it. I know this is a space game, so it's more about space than it is about being underwater. But I mean, they've done such a good job, in my opinion, with the underwater that, you know, with a little bit more, if they just added a little bit more to it, it could really enhance it even more. But anyways, definitely not a deal breaker for me, just kind of a wish list item, I suppose. Okay, here is a pentaxid crystal. So you just walk up to it and you pick it, and you have a pentaxid in your inventory. And like I said, this you will process into pentaxid fuel, which will then be used to power the shields of your base or your ship, and also power your warp drive when it comes time to warp. You can also find pentaxid on the moon deposits, and you can find pentaxid asteroids in orbit, which is by far, you know, a more efficient way to mine them. But in the very early game, it's always nice to have a source that you can pick from. All right, we're getting near the shore. Yeah, we're actually almost all the way back to the base. So look, if you see my O2, it's getting down. So we can't stay out here for too much longer. Okay, here's the other plasma I was looking for. This is the T6 plasma. That's what it's called. So, you know, it looks a little bit different than the ZR1 plasma. So it's kind of more of a white and brown texture, whereas the ZR1 is a red and white. And it kind of looks like a seashell when you pick it. I've always wondered if that was a placeholder, because it just kind of seems like a weird icon for that. But anyway, these two resources are really valuable for medical items. And so, you know, when you're down under the water looking for, you know, picking seaweed and or looking for promethium stones and pentaxid stones, always grab that plasma. Okay, cool. Here's the other type of seaweed. It's kind of more looks like a bush, a viney type of bush, as opposed to the tall stuff. And if I pick it, notice that it gives me only one plant protein. They changed that. Oh my goodness. Okay. All along, up until now, or up until they changed it, which would have been pretty recently, that's always given you two, but now that also only gives you one. That kind of sucks. Oh well. It doesn't really matter, because the tall, skinny ones are far, far more abundant anyway, and it doesn't take long to pick two. That is kind of a bummer, though, because, yeah, these used to always give you two, but apparently they don't anymore. All right, well, whatever. Whatevs, man. Okay, guys, so we've pretty much found all the underwater resources that you will find in the game, with the exception of the promethium stones. And remember, I told you they're really rare anyways. It's even possible that we've swam over the top of one or two of them and just didn't see them because, you know, the vegetation is so thick under here. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go back to shore now, and we're going to try plan B, and that's going to be, you know, doing some exploration and seeing if we can find a promethium deposit. So let's go ahead and head on back home. Oh, before we leave the water, I did go over this the first time we went in the water, but let's go over it again, because this is actually pretty important to know. In order to be able to swim in the water and to, you know, ascend from the space bar, you have to make sure you don't have anything in your hand. As soon as I put something in my hand, it doesn't matter what it was, I sink to the bottom, right? Now, then you can actually walk along the bottom if that's your intention, you know, and harvest, because, you know, you can find silicon, for example, under the water. But if I try and swim, I can jetpack up, but as soon as my jetpack runs out, I'm just going to sink back to the bottom, okay? So just remember that when you're under the water, in order to swim, you have to holster your weapon. You can't have anything in your hand. And you can do that quickly by pressing the 0 key. And now I can swim once again. Okay, really important to remember that, especially if you have a telepod or 3 running along the bottom trying to eat you. You need to be able to get away from him. Might as well grab these silicon rocks since they're right there. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice little supply of plant protein down below. I might actually turn some of those into bandages for us. So let's get some fiber to do that. Just trying to see if there's any fiber plants like really close to the base. Two ways to get fiber are pick the plants if they're close to the base, or if you have wood, then your constructor can turn the wood into fiber. Let's check our O2 thingamadoodle. Okay, so we've got 5 O2 bottles so far and 4 purified waters. So to replenish your O2, you have a couple of options. You can either use these little portable guys. You can also take the purified water and you can make emergency O2 in your survival constructor. These give you 35 oxygen, whereas these give you 75 oxygen. And then, of course, the third way to get O2 is to build an oxygen station. Here, let's get back into first person. You can build yourself an oxygen station, which I should be able to do from here. Okay, maybe either we can't or I don't have it learned yet. That's it. Yeah, I just don't have it learned yet. This is the O2 station here. So you have to have an O2 tank for your base, which is this thing. And you have to have an O2 station. And then if you have O2 in your tank, then you can use the station to fill up your O2. And we'll probably do that eventually. That wasn't a high priority on this planet because here again, we've got a breathable atmosphere. But at some point, you're going to want to do it. Okay, so yeah, you can make the emergency O2s as long as you have water in your inventory. And those will just give you, 35 O2. So it's not very much, but hey, it's better than nothing. The bigger ones are going to give you a lot more. So I'm just going to use all of these now because I know that I have more that are being produced. And that way we can just get our O2 filled all the way back up to the top the next time we want to go deep sea diving. I'm going to put the plasma in the fridge. These actually don't spoil, but I just like to keep them in here anyways because this fridge is the input device of my food processor, which is also where I make all my medical supplies. I don't know that we really talked about this actually, so whilst we're in here, let's just actually look at it. So you have these 3 buttons in the food processor. The first one with the knife and fork, of course, is all the different types of food that you can make in the game, which includes pizza and waffles and cheeseburgers and fruit pies and all kinds of good stuff. Every time I look at this thing, it makes me hungry in real life. So provided you have all the proper ingredients and it tells you what you need in the tooltip when you hover your cursor over it, you can make the food. The ration is the best food in the game, but it's also the most expensive to make. So most players in this game, once they can get a farm going, they're going to use the right, make sure that you have all the plants that you need to produce rations. Not everybody will, of course, but I do. And so, that's kind of your best food, basically. It gives you the most food, it doesn't perish, is what I'm trying to say. Everything else will perish. Even the canned food, even though it does last quite some time, will eventually perish. So this is always, your best food in the end game. But like I said before, you would use rations or Cliff Bars to take with you when you're out and about, or canned food. And your fresh food, like your stews and your sandwiches and your cheeseburgers and that kind of thing, you want to eat at your base. And always keep that stuff, of course, in the refrigerator. Okay, so we wanted to get some fiber. I do have a little bit there, but let's see what we have in our input. Yeah, so we've got 62 fiber there. Let's grab... how much do we need? How much fiber do we need for the bandages? We need 3 fiber. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Let's take... If we take 60 of these, we can make about 20 bandages. And I'm just going to have to, go pick some more fiber or make some more food later. How much plant protein does this require? It requires 2. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just queue up a stack of 100 and it'll make as many as it'll make. Because your bandages, of course, are your early game medical item. We'll put the silicon in here. And we'll put the pentaxid in here, and let's put the water in here. Now, if I was on the arid planet or any other planet where I couldn't breathe on, it's always a good idea to keep some water with you, or more importantly, convert that water into emergency O2. So if if you run out of these bottles, you have a fallback. Because in case you guys didn't know this, if you run out of oxygen, you die. True story. You really do. Okay, so how's our fuel doing? It's okay. Let's go ahead and top that off though. So let me talk about this again. So you press the P menu. And if I had fuel in my inventory, like promethium types of fuel, promethium packs, I could just hit fill all. But with the biofuel, you have to hit the manage button. Don't ask me why. It's always been that way. And I don't know why. Okay, so let's go into the base and let's go into our output. And we're just going to grab this fuel and put as much in there as we can. So, okay, that takes care of that. Let's grab our sniper rifle. And we're going to grab our motorcycle too. We don't need the pistol, but we are going to want this ammo in our inventory. So one way I could do that, of course, is I could just, exit out of the inventory or out of the base's fuel tank, and then go back in through like the F4 menu to get this, or I can actually switch this side to my player inventory just to put that quickly in there. So it's a little more useful to do it that way. Very cool. All right, guys, I think we are ready to hop in the hover vessel and start looking for some promethium. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. We've got plenty of food with us, so we're okay in that regard. How is our fuel looking in here? I'm going to press P, and it's in pretty good shape. We might want to... We've got just a tiny bit... Oh, that needs to go on the base. Okay, so let's switch to... Let's do this. Let's attach to the base over the wireless. And we want the input. We created a wireless device on this base, right? Yeah, we did. Okay. One way I can tell that very quickly is if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you see like the little wireless icon. That tells me I'm in an active wireless location. So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to press F4, which is the wireless menu. I'm going to access the damaged hoverbike. I have to be close to the hoverbike to get to it because it doesn't have a wireless. And I'm going to transfer those items into the base's inventory. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the output of the base, and I'm just going to put a little bit more fuel in here. Let's do like... oh, yeah, that's it. That's all we can carry because this thing has really lame storage. And don't worry about that. We're gonna get into building vessels very soon here actually. But I want to get the promethium, and I want to finish the rest of the base stuff before we do that. So hopefully a couple more episodes from now. All right, now let's take. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch to the base on this side. I'm going to switch to the hover vessel on this side, and open up the fuel tank from here. Right, and then I can just top that off with the base or the fuel that's in our base. When I'm done, go back into F4 and disconnect from the wireless. I don't have to do that. If I get out of range, it'll automatically disconnect, but I like to just disconnect it from here. Doesn't matter one way or the other, though. You need to keep making blocks for us. You're not doing anything. Okay. Let's go ahead and hop in here. Fire up. Remember the Y key is what powers on your vessel and or your base. We're going to get into third-person mode, and let's bring up our map with the M key. And you know what I think we're going to do? Let's just go directly west. We'll get back into the sun, and we're just going to stay pretty much on the equator and see what there is to see. Let's do it. I forgot something really important. Let's go back for a minute. It would behoove us to place a detector on our hover vessel. That way we can use it to scan with. I thought I had already done that, but apparently I have not, because if I had, it would show up in our toolbar here. So we're going to go into our small constructor. We're going to select hovercraft, and we're going to make a detector, which I guess we need to learn. So let's go hit the F3 key to get into our tech tree. Go to hover vessel and learn the detector. I think we already have a light on there, so yeah, we don't need to learn a light. Okay, hover vessel selected. We'll go to the equipment menu, and let's go ahead and make ourselves a detector. That won't take long at all. So the detector, guys, works exactly the same way as your handheld detector. It's just, it has better range. We did look at the handheld detector in the very first episode, I believe it was. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to plop this right in the middle there. It doesn't really matter. You can put it anywhere you want, but we're just going to put it there. And we now have a detector. And you can see that it shows up on my toolbar. And now I can use it to scan. And see how much better that is? Because now I can actually see stuff. All right, so we're going to go directly west. And let's just keep scanning and looking around for stuff. Now, the detector, if it finds a deposit, it'll show up as a resource. So we can see two resources in front of us. We don't know what those resources are yet, because we have to get within 1 kilometer, actually just under 1 kilometer, before we can actually see what they are. So let's just keep going. Eventually the detector scan will wear off, and then you just have to redo it. Okay, now we can tell what these are. So we've got... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to be within 200 kilometers on the planet. I was thinking of up in space. My bad. Okay. If you keep your cursor hovered over the resource, it should... Oh, boy, we got a minigun. Okay, we got to be careful of him, because we have no way to defend against him. Well, actually, you know what? There is a way we could potentially take that bastard out. Yeah, that's the one thing that you have to be aware of, is that a lot of times the resources will be patrolled by the enemy. So, let's see here. If we just kind of hang out here for a second, is he going to come after us? It looks like he is. Okay. Now, the way that I deal with these guys in the very early game is I actually put a minigun turret on top of my hover vessel, and then, you know, with a little bit of fancy footwork, so to speak, you can have the turret kill the minigun with the drone without it doing any significant damage to you or to your hover vessel. So yeah, he's still coming after us. You know, I do have a sniper rifle, but the problem with that is that I think he's got better range than I do, so he can shoot me before I can shoot him, kind of thing. There is another way in a pinch that you can deal with these guys too, and that is you get right underneath them and then shoot them, you know, shoot their belly. But that's a risky thing to do because, oh shit, you could take fire from him, you know, while you're trying to get to him. So we have kind of pulled him away from the resource. So I just want to know what that is for now, because if it's something other than promethium, then we're not really worried about it right now. So there is another drone there too. Let's try this resource. So as soon as we get within 200 kilometers, okay, so we know now that that's a silicon deposit, and for the moment we don't need a silicon deposit. Where is that other drone at? See, we kind of pulled him off way over there, but he's probably working his way back over here. Okay, let's do this. Let's just get within 200 meters of this resource and do a quick scan. Okay, that's copper. We don't care. That drone is on the other side of the hill. So once again, let's just kind of... Maybe we can luck out and get within 200 meters without getting in the drone's line of fire. Probably not going to happen, though. Okay, that's a silicon deposit. We don't care. Let's just leave it be for the time being. Here's another resource off this way. Let's go see what it is. If we can't find an easy-to-access promethium deposit, our last option is our most dangerous one, and I'd rather not do that right now if we don't have to. Okay, see, that's a silicon deposit too. Now, as you're discovering the ore deposits on the planet, we've got a couple off that way. If you look in your map by pressing M, it'll tell you what you've discovered and how many are left. So notice how it says for the silicon 4 of 6. Well, that's because we've discovered 4 deposits, but there's a total of 6. We've discovered 2 copper deposits. There's a total of 5. We've discovered 1 iron deposit. There's a total of 8, etc., etc. We have 1 gold deposit. Gold is very important because you need it to make an EVA booster, which you need before you can actually spacewalk. And it's also used for some of your higher end components like your optronic matrices and stuff like that. So gold is actually quite useful, and you want to grab it whenever you can. You can also turn gold into coins and deposit it into the economy, but I don't really do that. I use it to make the stuff. Anyway, so we still have 4 promethium deposits that we haven't discovered yet. So let's just keep trucking. I want to go to the west. Yeah, I want to go towards these resources that we haven't discovered. Now, be careful going over the water in a hover vessel. In general, as long as you kind of gently enter the water, and as long as you're not overloaded, especially with repulsor engines, which is what we have, you should be able to skim over the top of the water. But if you go in the drink, you're going to have a really hard time getting back out of the water if you can get back out at all. Let me see if I can demonstrate this while we're close to the shore, okay? So if I get down all the way into the water, okay, so now I'm actually, my vessel's in the water. The first thing that you should notice is that I move really slow in the water, like really slow. The second thing is even though I'm, pressing the space bar, which raises me up, I can't get out of the water. If you have jump boosters, is that what they're called? Here, let's get out of the water first. As you can see though, guys, you do not want to be a mile out in the middle of a huge lake and then get in the water. If that's going to happen, you've got a really, really long, slow trip back to the shore, okay? So just be really careful. As long as you are high enough up and you enter the water gently, in other words, you don't just slam down into the water from a steep bank, and as long as you're not overloaded, you should be okay, but just, be careful. You've been warned. Okay, what I wanted to look at is let's go into the tech tree with F3 and look at the hover vessel. There's a device you can put on hover vessels, hover booster, that's what I was thinking of. This thing will actually give you a quick boost where you can kind of hop up off the ground for a short period of time. If you have boosters on, I think you can actually get back out of the water. I haven't tried that in a long time, but I'm pretty sure that you can. If you don't have boosters, you're screwed. So there you have it. There you have it. Okay, so we want to go towards... Oh, we still got a bunch of resources to the west here. We got another... Is that another enemy drone? Or what is that? I'm not sure what that is. It's not floating around, but let's just stay away from it for now. And keep working towards these resources up here. I was talking about Plan B or Final Resort or Plan C or whatever the planet is. I guess it would be Plan C. And you can also find promethium in irradiated zones, but they're super dangerous. So I would much prefer to find a deposit. Okay, that's an iron deposit, so that's not what we're looking for. This biome that we're in right now is the savanna biome. It's kind of reminiscent of the arid planet. So the arid planet looks a lot like this, but the whole entire planet does. Though there are like oases and a couple different types of biomes, including like really dry ones, you know, like you would find in a desert with cactuses and sand and that sort of thing. There's like big sand dunes on the arid planet, kind of like, you know, Dune, the movie, the book, etc. But this is probably the most common type of biome that you're going to find on the arid planet, just FYI. This little plant here can give you alien thorn, which is makes the savanna actually quite useful on the temperate, because this is kind of rare here. Alien thorn is an ingredient that you need also for medical stuff. So whenever you see that, especially on the temperate planet, I would advise you to grab it. This guy over here, it used to be called an eggplant, but I think it just gives, yeah, it gives us veggies. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you can get veggies from eggplants. Useful. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this. Be really careful eating raw veggies and raw food and plant protein. I don't even, can you eat that? Yeah, I guess you can eat that. Because it can give you food poisoning, and if you get food poisoning and you don't have a way to deal with it, then that's going to cause you lots of problems. There's the raptors. Look at those guys. These guys are nasty. They really are. They want to eat us for dinner. So be super careful around those guys. And do be aware that if you have a hostile creature attacking you and you're in your vessel, they will attack your vessel. Let's see if we can get the raptor to attack our vessel. And they will do damage to it. Come on, dummies. See? Yep, they're attacking the vessel. It used to be to where they wouldn't, right? So as long as you stayed in your vessel, you were safe from pretty much anything. But that's no longer the case. They will attack your vessel and do damage to it. So, be careful with those guys. All right, let's see. What are we doing? We're going west, right? Yeah. Let's wait for our scanner to catch up. Okay, so we've got 4 more resources off this way that we've got to figure out what they are. That's yeah, that's an ironstone. A little bit of lag there. Okay, we are now in Xerax territory. I can tell that because if you look under the mini-map, it says Xerax Empire and it shows a red square. As you can imagine, in Xerax territory, yeah, see, there's all the resources too. Those son of a bitches. You got to be real careful because you're going to have more drones. If you get next to a Xerax structure, it can fire on you if it has turrets, and you also might run into ground troops. So, we got to be really, really careful. But as you can imagine, oh, yeah, there's ground troops right there. See? There's some mech warriors and some other soldiers. I don't want to get close to them in this vessel because they could really shred this thing, and we could be in trouble. What was I saying? Yeah, I had a specific thought that I was going to share with you guys, and I completely lost it. Okay, well, be careful in Xerax territory. That's what I'm trying to say. It's dangerous. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Not in every case, but very often, the resource you're looking for is in Xerax territory, and sometimes it's right next to one of their bases with guns on it. So, nothing's ever easy, right? Let's go check out these 2 resources. We might... Oh, shit! Don't let those guys fire at me. We might luck out and find promethium in a place that's not in their territory. Here's a pro tip for you, though. One thing you can do... Actually, you know what? Maybe we could try this. Let's try something here. Let's get back down on the plains where it's a little flatter. I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me. Woo, we're like way up in the air, aren't we? Just taking his time coming back down. I'm a little confused, man. I'm thinking maybe I'm in a small vessel now. No, he'll eventually come down. Okay, so, where are we at? We're in Talon territory here. They're neutral to us at the moment. Let's go back into Xerax territory, just kind of on the border. I want to show you something. If we can make this work without dying. Okay, where are we at? There we go. Okay, so there's troops right there. So watch this. Actually, let's look around and make sure there aren't any more troops that are going to sneak up on us. I think we're okay here for the moment. We do have to keep an eye on those raptors over there too. So I'm going to park maybe right here-ish. And we're going to leave the engines running. just kind of double checking my 6 here and making sure, you know, that we have, you know, we're aware of our surroundings. Okay, so those troops were kind of right up over this ridge, right? Yeah, there they are. Okay. One way you could get some really serious XP in the early game is if you can find Xerax troops and stay out of their range, you can cheese them with your sniper rifle and get some nice XP in the process. So let's pop this guy here. Okay, so we just got... how much XP did we get for that? It's flashed away too quickly. Okay, let's try another one. See, the thing is we're far enough away from them that they don't know where it's coming from. They're like going, hey, who's shooting at us? Where are they? Let's pop this guy. Okay, we just hit level 8. I can't tell how much XP we're getting, but we're getting a lot of XP. I mean, you know, we just hit the next levels. So this is a great way to level up in the early game as long as you can do it safely. I know it's very cowardly, but hey, the Xerax are our enemies, and we don't care. We would rather be cowards and have more levels than the other way around. Okay, so now if you can also get to their corpses before they despawn, they often have some decent... okay, he looks like he's almost spotted there. They can have some decent stuff on them too, but you just want to make sure that you've killed them all, because if you haven't, then you know they can hurt you pretty bad too, especially if they're higher levels. The enemies can go from level 1 up to level 10, and level 10 enemies, especially if you play on the most difficult settings, they are no joke. They will wreck your day, so you got to be super careful. Unfortunately, your detector doesn't detect enemies. It only detects, you know, like POIs, structures, that sort. Oh, shit, we got raptors. Okay. Doggone it, you stupid raptors. Well, so much for that loot. We don't want to mess with the raptors. I just don't have the firepower to deal with them right now. Shit, that sucks. Can we get down here and just kind of quick... I want to make sure there aren't any more troops around first, though, because... You son of us. Alright. The problem with these corpses is they're going to despawn, like, really quick. Here's one thing you could do, though, actually, now I think about it, is I could stay on my vessel, hop up, you know, stay up here as high as I can. Yeah, see, this is hard to stand on here. And then you can actually get your drone out, and you can loot with the drone. See, look at that stuff. That's some pretty decent stuff. These guys are all going to try and... Oh, see, he just disappeared. Doggone it. Yeah, I think they've all despawned now. Okay, let's get going, because these guys still might be able to hit me. In fact, I think they did hit me. Alright, well, that was a little bit of a sidetrack, but it's a very useful sidetrack. So yeah, if you can get just on the edge of Xerax territory and have a sniper rifle and just kind of cheese them from a distance, you can get some really nice XP. And then if you can actually get over and loot them, that's even better. But just be careful, because those troops are all over the place. See, there's some more troops right there too. We could try and cheese those guys too. Where were they? Those are raptors. They might be out of my render distance. There was a mech and a couple of ground troops just right over there, I thought. Let's move a little closer. Yeah, there they are. They were just out of render. Okay, let's get here. Oh, you stupid raptors, man. Such a pain in the ass. Okay, well, you know what? Forget it. Let's just go. Oh, we are... Doggone it, we're out of time again. I've been making these episodes go a little bit longer, guys. Oh, shit, there's troops right there. Because I'm not... You know, I'm not really able to produce these videos every day, so... I'm just making it a little longer so you have a little more content in between, you know, the releases. So hopefully that's cool with everybody. One thing you can do also if you do find a sand biome like this one, sometimes at night they will spawn sand golems or desert golems. Those guys can give you some really good XP, and they can also give you some actually high-end loot too, or high-end ores, including promethium. So that's another thing to keep in mind. They're more abundant on the arid planet than they are on the temperate planet, but a good source of XP and good source of a very early way to get some of the high-end resources. But you're not going to get a ton from them though. Okay, that's a copper deposit. Let's go over here and see if we can luck out. We just need one promethium deposit. That's all we need for now. That's iron. Not what we're looking for. And iron. Well, shoot. Okay, well, let's see. We got 4 more irons, 2 more silicons, 2 more coppers. So, man, I would bet you money that I'll bet you one of these, at least one of those, is a promethium. All right, when you see these little purple thingamadoodles, these are legacy. Oh, the factory. That place is nuts. These are legacy structures, and if they're abandoned, they won't have big guns, but they might still have like small sentry guns. This POI is huge. It's way bigger than it looks on the outside, and it's very, very dangerous. But there is some fat loots inside of there. Fat, guys, like PHAT, fat loots inside of here. But it is a very, very tough fight. So, oh shit, there's a sentry gun. So, now that I know that this is here, I'm going to bookmark it. I mean, I don't need to, it'll stay there, but I'm just going to bookmark it anyway for now. And that could be a potential POI that we could do once we're equipped to do so. If I went in there right now, I would get absolutely annihilated. But we will keep that in mind. I'm glad we actually found that. Okay, so let's see if we can cheese back over into the Xerax territory just long enough to... Oh, there's a resource there too. Let's do that first. Just long enough to see what those resources are, and then we're going to have to wrap up this episode. Maybe we'll luck out and find a desert golem as we're going back down here. Because the desert golems can actually provide promethium for you too. I think I already said that, but just in case I didn't. Copper deposit. Crap. Okay. Alright. Let's go back into Xerax land, and we're just going to kind of blitz through there really quick and hope to God we don't get shot down. I just want to see what those resources are. Because if one of them does, in fact, turn out to be promethium and it's next to an enemy POI with big guns, there's a way to get to it. We can still find a way to cheese ourselves to it. We just got to keep moving quickly, because if we come across troops, we don't want them to hit us. Okay, there's a resource. That's iron. Doggone it. There's a drone. That's another iron. See, we're getting shot at. Move, 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 move. And let's just see if we can... Oh, shit. Figure out what this one is. Little lag there. Silicon. Shit. Okay. Whoa, there's troops. So we're just going to kind of zig, and we're going to kind of zag. We're going to move until we get out of Xerax land here. Where are we at? Okay. All right, guys. Well, we have a lot more planet here, and there's actually a resource down in the Talon territory too to uncover. So, we've hit almost all of the silicon. There's only 2 more irons. There's only 1 more copper, and so there's still quite a bit of planet left. So we will eventually come across one of those 4 promethium deposits, but I'm afraid we are out of time in this episode. So what I'm going to probably do is continue after I cut the camera. Oh, what the hell? Let me keep you with me for just a little bit longer. Let's just go down and check out these 3 resources in Talon territory, because, you know, we're narrowing things down. We've discovered almost all of the main resources, so anything left by process of elimination, right, has to be promethium. That was kind of convenient that we were able to sail across most of this rough terrain here. No, that's iron, but I think... no. Okay, let's keep going. We've got a drone there that we have to watch out for. There's a promo deposit. Awesome. Okay, cool. So... what? And it's a medium one, too. Wow, we can pull a lot of promethium out of that, you guys. That was a nice find. We do have a drone, though, and we also have another problem, and that is that we're in Talon territory. So, we have 2 options. And I will share what those options are with you in the next episode. Bye, guys.